Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news with conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, but I do not do this program on my own.
That's right, Craig. I help you. I'm coming to you live from the East Coast. My name is Mike Poworski. And Craig, what day is today?
Today is Hump
Hump
Day.
Day.
That's right. It is Wednesday, the beginning of the weekend for some folks. I'd like to say it is for me, at least. At some time during this day, this week or this day, I will just decide, you know what? It's the weekend. I'm done.
Right about noon today is mentally when my hump day begins. So right about now.
God, I hope
Right
none
about
of my
now.
clients are watching. When they realize that Thursday and Friday that I may or may not be actually present.
They
Mentally.
try to get a hold of you. What's okay, Craig? Where are you? I'm in the middle of something. Yep, in the middle of hump day.
In the middle of Hump Day. Now, before we get on with the show, we all know that there's a very special day that comes. It comes every Friday. What do we call it, Mike?
We call it Freedback Friday.
And why do we call it that?
Well, because we like your feedback and we have free stuff, so we call it Freedback Friday. It's like when my daughter was little and she liked to watch cartoons and she liked tattoos of cartoons, so she called them tattoons. She put the words together. That's what we did with Feedback Friday. It's free on Feedback Day. We've got for you it's a T7075 aluminum upper receiver that goes with your America's Rifle R. And then we have the 80% lower paperweight to match it that you could just take a little bit of work on yourself and, perhaps make it something more complete. This is going to be given away on Friday's Feedback Friday for those that get online and on the Facebook. I think we're going to be monitoring perhaps the YouTube even this weekend or this Friday. And whoever is the most engaged, best comments, I don't know, whoever entertains us the most, you entertain me. And once you entertain me and Craig, we're going to give you a little gift here from our good friends at Gorilla Machining and Grid Defense.
Folks, it is really that simple. So you want to get on, you want to encourage your friends to get on. Like, share, subscribe, let your folks know this is the place to be to talk about 2A news, conservative stuff. Because, they're really, where else in the world are you going to be able to do it and look at such a fabulous collection of bourbon?
Oh, man, right? Yeah, and we're not even talking about mine. We're talking about yours, right, Craig?
Well, no, see, mine, I get to look at mine because mine is on the other side of the camera. It's not competing with yours, not even close yet, but I'm going to give it the old college try.
Listen, when folks, when you see me look away from the camera and I do one of those jobs, it's because I'm looking at the monitor going, that is a good-looking bourbon room right there. That's a lot of bourbon. That's a good-looking bourbon. So I'm stopping in mid-show to admire what's behind me is how it's working out. So
exactly. That's why he rushes at the end of the show because he's like, I think I need to.
I gotta go.
It's noon somewhere.
I could hear it calling me.
All right, folks. Hey, let's get on with the show. All right. Top story today has to do with background checks. And the Associated Press actually put out an article noting that there were over 300,000 denied background checks last year. And the funny part about it is that they talk about it like this is, oh, wow, look, all these people who aren't supposed to get guns didn't get guns. What they don't tell you, and the question that they didn't even bother to try and ask was, how many of those denials were false flags? I believe at last check, studies said that something like 47% of them would actually turn out to be false flags.
Yeah, exactly right. I think it was something like 42% said they would be false. Those would be people that would be, identity theft. That's one of the major reasons we find out there. Or you'll get some that have very similar names. Craig, it's not something I have to worry about. I don't know about you, but you get your John Smiths or your Matt Millers, that kind of name, stuff like that. They're gonna find that there's a lot of names out there with very similar names and birth dates, and they're gonna get put into the hold pattern or put into the denial pattern because somebody else has compromised their information. So that's definitely out there. And when you think of the rate of that we're talking about here, we're talking about less than 1%, and most cases less than 0.5%. That's right there about on par for identity theft and attaching felonies to your name.
Well, and the other part of it is what they pointed out were state laws that were prohibiting. For example, or if you have, for example, if you have a restraining order, which, by the way, in many divorces is considered a standard tool. You're getting divorced, you get a restraining order, bam, you lose your right to keep and bear arms. Red flag laws were another one that is a growing percentage of people who don't even know that they have a red flag order against them may go to buy a gun, or may think that the red flag order meant that they lost their guns, but they didn't lose their right to necessarily go and buy one. I mean, there are a bunch of people, or by the way, in some cases, it's some of these orders that have been placed on them that have actually been lifted, but nobody bothered to tell NICS that the order has been lifted and that they are now legally allowed to own or possess firearms. Now, the scary part about this is, Mike, is that if you are prohibited from owning a firearm and you attempt to purchase a firearm, it then is a felony for you to go and try to buy a firearm. So you become guilty of a felony even if you are allowed to legally own and possess firearms.
Yeah, let's see if I can get all my points in there. There's a lot of stuff we covered. There are some states also, Craig, just talking about what can be denied and what cannot. We just talked about Mark McCluskey out there in the state of Missouri. He was the one that pled down his gun charge to a misdemeanor charge involving a firearm, assault in the fourth degree. And the day on Friday, the charges were put into the record. He had a misdemeanor conviction. With just a fine. That's all he had to do. There was no probation, no anything after that. So he was basically 1 day clear from supervision. Okay, so he was 1 day clear from supervision. In the state of Missouri, that's okay. Here in the state of Florida, if you get popped for any misdemeanor, whatever it is, let's say it's a DUI, let's say it's spitting on a sidewalk, you have to wait 3 years from release of supervision before you can purchase a firearm in the state of Florida. So there's a lot of states like Florida where you might get more denials because people think they're in the clear and realize, what do you mean Florida's got an illegal 2 year or 2 or 3 year hold after I get released from supervision? So that happens as well. The other thing that's on here, Craig, is there's this was now depending on whose count you're looking at, between less than 1%, 4% less than 1% is what we're talking about here. 0.04% or 0.0%, 0.04% or 0.08%. Somewhere between those two numbers was the denial rate. Now, let's call it 1%. Let's just bring it up to 1% and make it easy. They had 300,000, right? So 300,000 is 1%. They're saying we had 30 million people apply for firearms last year. I'm kind of suspecting their numbers are a little off, Craig, okay? They're telling me 30 million people last year, and it's really closer to 0.5%. So that really means 60 million people last year, according to them, applied for firearms, right? Again, not really confident with their numbers here. We also know that in 2017 is the last year where they had solid numbers, rock steady numbers. There were 200,000 people during 2017 that had denials. Craig, do you know the number of those people, to get back to where you ended, do you know the number of those people that were prosecuted?
None.
12.
12.
12. 12 out of 200,000. So for all the background checks, Craig, that they've put in place that are going to stop felons from getting firearms, here's 200,000 of them that just walked into gun stores and said, I'd like to commit a felony, please, because it's a gun violation. And the feds, wanting so bad to go after gun crimes, prosecuted 12 out of 200,000.
Well, exactly. I think that points out even they recognize the fallacy and the problems with their system.
Yep.
Number one. And number two, it just shows that they're really not serious about enforcing laws or keeping guns out of the hands of criminals. Because, see, once they're denied, and by the way, folks, just so you know, it's a pretty expensive process for you if you've been denied, for you to appeal it, for you to get an attorney and go through all the process to get it. So a lot of people just don't bother. So you then wonder how many people went and got a firearm illegally. One has to wonder. I'm not saying they did, but I'm just saying. And
let's not even say illegally. Let's say of those 200,000, Craig, we know about 40% of them are going to be in error, right? Right. So what about those 40% said, you know what, I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of this guy, John Smith, out there always taking my thunder away from me because he's got some felony. I'm just going to go to the gun show and buy one legally from a dude walking around in the parking lot selling a gun because I'm allowed to buy a gun from another citizen in this state.
Right. Exactly. The gun show loophole.
Yes, exactly right.
Just reach through the loophole, stick your money through the loophole.
Reach through the loophole, take the gun out. There you go.
There you go. That's how it works. That's how it works. Anyway, well, hey, moving right along, as you know, there's a recall election taking place in the state of California, where we are seeking to oust Governor Gavin Mussolini. Actually, his name is Newsom, but I like to call him Mussolini. And the interesting thing about this recall is it's got support of people on the right, on the left, in the center, just people who are just very frustrated with the way in which he's run California. In particular, how he's run California during the COVID pandemic. But there's one person who has stood out in this article that was written by the SF Gate. And I thought it was interesting because this guy is actually part of a state party that is about seceding from the United States of America. And Mike, I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Listen, I also agree that the method that Governor Mussolini has run the state of California is right into the ground. It's absolutely ridiculous what he has done to your state out there. In fact, he likes to claim it's the fifth largest economy in the world, and he forgets to name it's the top economy in the world that's been run into the ground. He's done that rather well. This new candidate again. I believe it's even called the New Republic or the New California Party or the New California Republic Party. Not Republican, but Republic Party.
It's the California National Party. So in other words, becoming a nation.
Yeah, and remember, and it's weird because there's some states like California, Texas that were countries before they came to the states. So you are republics. So you actually have a different set of rules when it comes to seceding than say like a state of Florida or something like that. Not that it would be accepted, by any means, but technically, legally, there's different rules that apply to you if wanted to leave the country. But I like the idea. I mean, this is the guy says, listen, we're done. We're going to go do our own thing. We're not going to be reliant on anybody else. And I like that part of it. I like the first half of his argument. The second half, not so much, because the second half of his argument is the way to get over this is to redistribute everybody's money and move it around equally.
Well, that's what I found hilarious was I'm like, all of his ideas are all basically liberal Democrat ideas, and he thinks that that's going to attract Republicans. Like the idea of basic income, lifetime basic income. So in other words, everyone gets a certain amount of money. He's like, that'll help people go and open businesses. I'm like, if you're paying me to do nothing, why would I go open a business?
Exactly right.
If you're giving me money to do absolutely nothing, are we learning nothing from handing out free cash during the pandemic? Are we learning nothing? We can't get anybody to go back to work. We have businesses shuttering their doors because they're getting more money by doing nothing. If no one starts a business, if no one runs a business, whose wealth are you going to redistribute?
And that's what it comes down. That's what it comes down to. Because, like, let's say you've got the thoracic heart surgeon, right? And then you've got the guy that digs the ditch. And nothing wrong with the guy that digs the ditch. The world needs ditch diggers. We need ditches, Yes. But we're going to pay them the same salary. Okay, that's hard to believe. Now add in the fact that I'm going to pay the guy that's sitting home on the couch doing nothing the same salary as the heart surgeon and the ditch digger. And listen, not only is the heart surgeon mad, but the ditch digger's coming after you too. Why should he be working his ass off to make the same money you're making at home?
No. Then I love what he talked about with gun laws. He said, well, all gun laws should be at the county level because local counties know their needs. So I'm like, wait a minute. So in other words, what you're telling me is that if I drive from one county to another in the state of California, I could go from one county where I'm allowed to open carry any firearm that I want to a county where I'm not allowed to have a bullet around in my vicinity larger than 22 LR.
Well, if you think about it this way, Craig, and what do you got 9 years left before Newsom said you're not going to have automobiles in California anymore, the county will become much bigger than it is. You'll have to walk to get to wherever you want to go.
Maybe so, but I will tell you, I'm noticing some of the in particular, and I know this is an aside, the GMC Hummer all-electric vehicle is a beast.
Yeah.
I want one. I mean,
that's right.
Just like kind of like Teslas. Teslas are they're cool vehicles. If all electrical vehicles or all hybrid vehicles were like those, I'd have those now.
Well, listen, I don't have any problem with electric vehicles, except that you get to go about 200 miles in one tops. You know, the ones we've been looking at. I was actually looking at one for my daughter. It gets like 80 miles. You get 80 miles. You know, that's to and from school every day for her.
Right, the affordable ones.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I just think mandating that is a stupid thing. But anyway, needless to say, my final thought on seceding from the United States has always been this. I say we let them do it, and then those of us who are in places like this, who are in the state of Jefferson, who are in... What the heck is that? What the heck was that?
I don't know, but I'm digging it.
All of a sudden, music just started playing on my end. I don't know where that came from. Anyway.
That's the California secession music.
The California secession music. I love it. In any case, I say we just, we let them secede. And then those of us who have all the guns, we decide we're going to go back to the United States and we'll be New California. And, I think that would change the balance of politics in the United States because they wouldn't have California to lean on anymore.
For that time period when you secede and before you come back, is this going to be a long distance call?
I do not know.
All right. That's really what it comes
to. I'm going to give it all of 3 days before we come back.
All right. Well, we might have to put the show on hiatus for a couple of days because long distance rates are not cheap.
We'll do it over the weekend.
Oh, okay. We're good then. Yeah. It'll be a 3 day. Yeah.
We'll just do it over the weekend.
There we go.
All right, moving right along. No more musical interludes, hopefully. All right, mass shootings in Oakland, California. Speaking of what's going on in California, they're up. There's already been 6 I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I just made a mistake. I don't call them mass shootings. They are mass casualty. They are casualty events that include firearms. I don't like the idea of mass shootings, calling them mass shootings. But anyway, now the reason why I thought that this was an important story to point out was because the same exact thing. As a matter of fact, I saw the same exact story for the city of Minneapolis. Same exact thing. Murders are way up. Now, keep in mind these are Democrat-controlled cities in Democrat-controlled states where they have sought to defund the police, where they have decriminalized crime. And surprise, surprise, not just violent crime, but property crime is already going up through the roof. And you have the people in those cities who are like, can we refund our police?
Yeah, listen, guess what happens when you defund the police, or when you take away qualified immunity, which you've done both of in your state there, and then you lock people up in COVID, and so people can't go out and get their own groceries. They do whatever they want. You got all that nonsense. You've got right across the bay there in San Francisco where you can do anything you want. We see videos of people going in there and stealing $949 worth of stuff off the shelf because $950 now the new level of crime to be prosecuted. So guess what's going to happen? Guess what happens when you take those things away from the police? The police are going to, first off, you have the money. So there's not enough cops to be there. And when you have qualified immunity, you're going to get this. Hold on, let me see if I can get this done. Oh, what's that call? Nah, sorry, I'm busy. Because if you want me to respond and put my life in danger to try and save other people, but you're going to tell me I get to be prosecuted because I violated your rights because I detained you in the course of an investigation? No, go ahead. Have at it. Shoot all you want. I'll be over here.
Right. I'll take a report later.
Yep, exactly right. Come to the station, file the report.
I'll come in and take a report.
Yep, that's what you're going to get. Sorry, you bought this. Oakland, right. You went out and you bought and paid for this for these mass casualty events on your own. No sympathy here. Sorry, don't care.
These are the people you put in office. These are people we told you they were, and you didn't believe us. So now you get what you get, and somehow though they're going to find a way to blame Donald Trump.
Of course they are. And these are knee-jerk reactions. We're seeing these laws with the defunding and getting rid of the qualified immunity because of the riots that have gone on. None of these riots were prosecuted. Nothing at all. So why should any crime be prosecuted? It's just going to encourage the criminal to go out and do what they want. Brought this on yourselves. Elections have consequences. You small-minded people, you one-star people out there fell for this. And it's all on you. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
So guess what? There's a lot of one-stars in the city of Oakland.
Yep. When you one-stars get shot in a drive-by shooting, it's all your fault, not mine.
Oaktown kicking it.
Yep, don't care. Have fun.
Speaking about elections having consequences, now North Carolina is a state that you would normally figure would be a solid Republican state, but they have a Democrat governor. And their Democrat governor has decided that he was going to veto a bill that would allow individuals with concealed carry permits to carry at church where a school is in place. So normally what happens is because of a gun-free school zone, if your church is either at a school or if there's a school at the church, you're not allowed to carry on those grounds. So there was a bill that was introduced, passed all the way through the legislature, passed on a bipartisan basis. And the governor decided to veto the bill, saying, well, we have to keep our teachers and students safe. Now, Mike, here's the funny part about this. The bill was amended so that they could only carry during non-school hours, meaning there are going to be no teachers, there are going to be no students. It's literally only going to be when there's church.
Yeah. I like to call this governor Asbury because that's his middle name, Asbury. So old Roy Asbury here has really made an Asbury of himself. He's just lost himself the re-election as far as I'm concerned in North Carolina. This was like you said, Craig, bipartisan legislation passed. First off, this involved private institutions, schools, and churches, because there are no publicly funded state schools attached to churches in the state of North Carolina. So he was talking about private entities. This was giving owners and churchgoers of churches the opportunity to carry firearms, like you said, Craig, while church is in session and school is not. So you never have the school ongoing while the church is ongoing. So this is basically on a Sunday, or if you've got Saturday church going on, programs going on, you could carry. And that's only if you were concealed, if you had your concealed license. This guy, and then he's got the stones to say that this is going to make students and teachers safer because there's no guns there. Yeah, I guess he just forgets the part about criminals give a crap about gun laws. Okay. Oh, well, you tell me this, Governor. Let's just put up a sign in front of your Capitol House, your state house, that says no guns allowed, and you lose all the protection of the North Carolina State Police. How about that? Let's get rid of all that protection. Well, let's do that.
Now, he did say that, well, if they're that worried, they should hire security guards. But I'm like, I can't speak for North Carolina. I don't know what the concealed carry requirements are there. But the amount of firearms training that a security guard gets in California is the same as what a concealed carry permit holder gets. So it's literally the same exact firearms training. No difference at all. I just found that to be incredibly beyond disingenuous. And by the way, it has nothing to do with churchgoers because, like you said, this is going to happen when they're not at school. And by the way, you're allowed to carry at churches in North Carolina. So
yes.
It's like, so in other words, if you have a school, if you're a church that decides to have a school, or if you're a church that rents out a school, I don't know. I guess that doesn't happen in North Carolina. I know in California, some especially smaller or newer churches actually rent out school facilities for their. Some of them rent out school facilities for their Sunday services.
It's my understanding that this there is when you have the church attached to the school. Actually, it's one building, but at some point in the middle, this is the church side and that's the school side. But because it is one singular building or on one piece of property, this was required. Yeah, it's not even to the extent, Craig, where they're swapping the same space. This is two separate spaces in a larger complex.
Yeah, it's idiotic, is what it is.
Yeah.
And then but see, in the guise of, once again, making people feel safe, you actually make people unsafe because you've now sent a message that, so if I want to go shoot up a church, all I got to do is find one that has a school. Exactly
right. I don't have to worry about anything at all because it's going to be safer, right? It's going to be safer unless the bad guy decides that the governor's words won't stop me. I'm going to be the bad guy. That's what I'm going to do. The bad guy is going to decide that now I know where there's a place where it's a lot less likely that people are going to be able to defend themselves. He's actually painted a target on those locations. I'll tell you what Florida has done to deal with this because we have the same kind of issue with schools and churches. One, they've chosen to just ignore the law. It's if the masses ignore the law, then we really don't have too much to worry about. Unless you do something stupid, then they're going to use the law against you. But Florida has a rule, and most states have this, called the house detective rule. If you don't have to have a licensed security officer if the employee is a direct employee of that establishment. Mm-hmm. So let's say you run ABC Widgets, you hire outside security guard company, those people have to be licensed. But if you're ABC Widget company and you make 3 of your internal employees security guard, there's no licensing requirement because they're employees of the company. So these churches have come along and said during the congregation, you are all our security officers of the church. And thereby they could all carry.
Nice. Well, there you go. That works.
So a little tip for you there in North Carolina. Oh, and by the way, elections have consequences. Asbury's got to go.
Asbury the Dingleberry.
Yeah, that's
gotta go.
Exactly right. Yep.
All right, let's move on to our parting shot. This is one that Mikey sent to me, and I think it is incredibly appropriate for those of you who believe in income redistribution or wealth redistribution. Well, guess what? So does your president. That's right. He's not going to donate his salary as former President Donald Trump did. He's going to donate your salary. And that's what all of those fun taxes, that's what all that is. Even the corporate taxes, because if you believe that corporations pay taxes, well, you're not quite that bright.
Yeah, listen, we talked about this with our California secession story, right? They're going to take what you make and redistribute it to other people that they seem fit to give it to. They're going to take your salary and donate it to other people. And it's not like you get to choose. It's going to come out. You're going to see your tax rates go up, your FICA go up, your Medicare, everything's going to go up because they're going to pull money from everywhere and give it to people that they want to give it to for you. Remember, we were all sitting at 17 to 23% effective tax rate under the last president, and this one we're up to 43 and some places 53, like California.
Well, and not only that though, but once again, they're going after corporations or businesses. Well, businesses pass those. Taxes are a cost of doing business, and all they do is they pass those costs on to you and me. So those products that you like to buy, like that cell phone or that computer that you're watching or tablet you're watching
of gasoline. Right now,
when you go to buy the gasoline that get you to and from work, all this happens is the cost of that goes up, and they pass the cost on to you. And oh, by the way, some of those of you with employers, guess what? You guys generally make less money because then they wind up cutting your hours, or in some cases just firing people. And once again, in order to make up the costs. It is idiotic, and why people don't understand that and don't see that. It's basic. It's Econ 101. And
Greg,
trying to explain it to people is infuriating.
Because Orange Man Bad made a mean tweet.
I know. He's so mean.
He touched me in my tweeter space.
Show me on the doll where the bad man hurt you.
Here in my wallet is where the current guy's hurting me.
Hey, give our sponsors a plug one more time, just to let folks know. Remind them about Freedback Friday.
Grid Defense, and Gorilla Machining. Gorilla Machining and Grid Defense. There we go. Check them out. They're partners of ours. They should be partners of yours too.
Exactamundo. So, folks, remember. All right. So, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about the Rundown, the place to hang out and talk about 2A News and share our conservative views.
Hey, check us out. And listen, if you want to reach out to us and want a story you want to see, hit us up a day ahead of time, and we'll take a look at it. Craig, how do they communicate with us? How do they get a hold of us?
You can message. Both of us are on Facebook, so you can message either. You can DM either one of us. You can also DM the Rundown. Either way.
Go to the Rundown. Yeah, go to the Facebook page, go to the Rundown, message us there. You got something you want to see on tomorrow's show, let us know today. We'll take a look at it.
And if you're watching us on YouTube and you don't want to go on Facebook, hey, post the link in the comment section here, and we'll check it out.
Yeah. Sounds good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, folks, we will talk to you tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday.
See you Thirsty Thursday.